Here's the precaution, though, from AISD officials. They are saying that they're seeing a lot of parents whose students go to Blazier Elementary School in Southeast Austin, and they're seeing these parents go and try to pick up their kids from that area. Oh. That's really not the best thing to do. Right. The kids are safe. The school is safe as well. But parents, you're probably going to put yourself at risk if you do.
For parents to stay home, then go out to try to get them.
Then go out and try to get those kids. AISD is saying all of their kids are safe right now. If something changes, we, of course, will let you know. You have two parents right here wondering the same thing. Let's head over to Jim Spencer, because I know you've had somebody on the phone that you want to talk to.
Yeah, thank you, Sally.
And so that is why the city of Austin, we just got an update from them. They're saying, Jim, 3 water rescues are taking place right now in South Austin. We want to know exactly where to bring that to you, but they are so busy right now.
Yes,
it's hard to get them to stay on the line with us, but all they can say right now is that they are responding to 3 water rescues taking place right now just in South Austin. We also wanted to let you know that when it comes to ABIA, you may be wondering what's the latest with that. Portions of the airport are reopening, but the latest we're getting in from the FAA is that the ground floor of the Austin Air Traffic Control Tower flooded with approximately 6 inches of water. They had to hand over control to the Houston area, and so what's happening right now is that you're going to expect some even more delays at ABIA, because they need to go ahead and separate these airplanes even more so in the air to make sure that everybody is safe. So ABIA is one thing that is reopening in portions, but still that control tower flooded with 6 inches of water.
Madeline, who's that? Is that your brother?
Baby Madeline sleeps in what used to be his crib, listens to the same music he loved, and sees his pictures all over the house. But she never got to actually meet her older brother, Moss.
This one is from Easter morning last year. Sorry. And he passed away 5 days later.
Moss was the first child for Jessica and Jay Peratt. Jessica says it was a typical morning in April. Moss had a slight fever, but they thought the 14-month-old was just teething.
I gave him breakfast, and he was acting kind of tired, so I said, okay, I'll go ahead and put him down for his morning nap.
A short time later, when Jessica went back to check on Moss, he wasn't breathing. She screamed for Jay to call 911. EMS got a faint pulse and rushed Moss here to the emergency room at Dell Children's Medical Center, where he spent the next 36 hours on life support.
Trying to salvage whatever little bit that you can of what you know is your last moments with your child.
They sang him his favorite lullaby and told him how much they loved him one last time.
Once we knew that that he wouldn't survive this, I encouraged him to let go.
Moss's death is not only unexpected, it is unexplained. Doctors have no answers, and the autopsy shows nothing unusual.
So that left us confused that why did Moss pass away?
It's called sudden unexplained death in childhood, or SUDSI. And last year, it affected 387 toddlers and teenagers nationwide. Here in Texas, from 2008 to 2012, SUDSI claimed 201 children, 14 in Central Texas.
It's unpredictable and unpreventable at this time.
Laura Crandall lost her 15-month-old daughter to SUDSI 17 years ago. And today she is behind a grassroots movement for research dedicated to finding a cause. But SUDSI cases are rare, and so is the research.
The research that has been done over the last several years has all been done by private donations, mostly from families who are affected, trying to change the future. We have not received government funding for research in this regard to date.
I was 4 months pregnant when Moss passed away, and then Madeline was born, and I will say that was the most peaceful day I felt since Moss passed away.
And Madeline looks just like her brother.
It was such a gift to us in a time when we were so sad.
And in the middle of that sadness, a sign of their undying love for Moss. Madeline's middle name is Moss, forever connected to the big brother she never knew.
He was so young when he passed away, but I don't have any doubt in my mind that he would have just been a perfect older brother.
You might be wondering if the Perats worry this will happen to Madeline too, and they tell me yes, but all of their fears are amplified having gone through this with Moss. But they're using that story to help. In March, they traveled to New York to meet with other parents going through the same thing, and they're also working with the Sudsea Registry. It began 6 months ago with researchers doing genetic analysis on the children who've died, something that could be the start in finding out what is causing these tragedies to happen, and maybe someday preventing it. They hope to have those results in the next 2 years. Sally Hernandez, KXAN News. On top of this breaking news for you this morning, you just heard some of the reporters from NBC News saying that this was a 7-hour standoff yesterday with 5,000 rounds that were fired into this apartment building. They had 2 people who were dead. One was a suicide bomber outside of the apartment building. And then the task was, who was this other person who we killed? And now this morning we have an answer. 6:57 is your time this morning. I want to get you caught up on that breaking news that we're getting out of France this morning. How the Paris prosecutor says that the suspected ringleader of the Paris attacks from Friday, Abdelhamid Aboud, was killed during yesterday's police raid. This is a live look at the apartment building that was the scene of that 7-hour standoff. More than 5,000 bullets fired into that building, and this morning they say they got their guy, at least the ringleader. However, the search continues for that 8th terrorist suspect, Salah Abdeslam. More over on the CW Austin.
These are pictures of my daughter when she was born at 1 pound 3 ounces.
1 pound 3 ounces. That's about the weight of a beer bottle, and sadly a reminder of how excessive alcohol use can harm unborn babies like that one. We've known the risks for years, but tonight our Sally Hernandez takes an in-depth look at new research out of the University of Texas that shows the youngest mothers aren't getting the message.
It's the largest study of its kind ever, according to UT. Researchers interviewed 100,000 girls and found something very startling with the youngest group. Imagine your daughter, a middle schooler aged 12 to 14, pregnant. Of those girls, the study found 1 in 3 were also drinking alcohol or abusing drugs during their pregnancies. A dangerous combination for one young mother. In order for her to be so open with us about her alcohol use, we are not showing her face and we are not revealing her identity.
I was drinking nonstop the entire time. Because of my selfishness and my carelessness, this is my daughter.
Born extremely premature, nearly 3 months early, with a 30% chance of survival, Heather's daughter was a fighter.
She could not breathe for herself. You can see the machine is attached to her mouth and it is breathing for her. You can see the tube up her nose, which is feeding her. And this is all because I chose to use and drink alcohol through my pregnancy.
Throughout her pregnancy as an 18-year-old.
I knew I was pregnant, but it wasn't a thought.
That's the problem, according to researchers at the University of Texas. They say pregnant teens who drink are more common than you think, especially among 12 to 14-year-olds.
But when we looked among 12 to 14-year-old pregnant teens, we found extremely high rates of substance use.
But Dr. John Giannopoulos at Dell Children's says he is not surprised.
We're seeing a lot more at-risk behaviors in our teen populations.
He sees many babies fighting for their lives in the NICU.
Alcohol can lead to physical abnormalities, small brains, small body size, facial abnormalities where there's defects in the structure of the eyes, defects in the way the lips are structured. More concerning, though, they lead to cognitive and behavioral disabilities.
So you got it?
Like Heather's daughter, now 10 years old.
She now is older, but she still has a lot of health issues. She's still legally disabled.
Ready?
And that's why she's still here today. With the help of the medical doctors, the nurses, and God, not by me.
Heather got help too and is now sober. She hopes pregnant teens will take a different path.
If you are a teenager and you are drinking, please stop. And if you can't stop, please get help.
So it doesn't lead to this. Drinking while pregnant can also lead mothers to miscarry. Those babies who do survive often have speech and language delays later on in life, and sometimes problems sleeping and nursing. We did ask Dr. Salas Wright if the survey showed why pregnant teens are using alcohol and drugs. He says they may not be getting the message, especially 12 to 14-year-olds. The study did show kids with supportive parents and schools were substantially less likely to abuse drugs and alcohol during pregnancy. 6:08 is your time on this Monday morning, and the job is changing for Texas game wardens. The state will spend $800 million to boost border security efforts. Part of the plan is to figure out how to best use those game wardens along the border. They were recently part of a 14-month operation along the Rio Grande to curb illegal immigration. The trailer is out this morning for Zoolander 2, and it's ridiculously good looking.
But how am I supposed to stop Mugatu?
Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson reprising their Derek and Hansel personas. Hansel, he's so hot.
So hot, right?
They strut their stuff down the runway. Zoolander 2, it's set to hit theaters in February.